Okay, so here again, we are going to use the Gauss-Jordan elimination method. So here we have a question. Again, it's 3 variables, X, Y, and Z. So the goal is that this is a system of linear equation. Our goal is to solve for the value of X, Y, and Z. Again, we can use the substitution and elimination method. We can use it like the one we use for solving 2 variables. How it will work, very simple. I will take any of the 2 equations. Let's say I'll take the first equation and the second equation. I will eliminate Z. When I eliminate Z finish, I will get a new 1 equation. Then I will take I take 1 and 2. So I'm not going to take 1 and 2 no more. I'll take 1 and 3 or 2 and 3. Then also I'm going to eliminate Z. Now you can see that I have 2 equations now, a new 2 equation with no Z, the 2 new equation. So if I have 2 equations now with no Z, that means I have 2 by 2. I can solve for X, I can solve for Y. When I solve for X and Y finish, I'm going to plug the points in any of these 3 equations. I'll take any of them, then I'll plug the point for S and Y, then I'll solve for Z. So even if it's 4 variable, you can do it. Sometimes students do that instead of doing this. That's why I'm trying to explain it. So this, we can use the system of linear equation or substitution to solve system of linear equation for substitution or elimination method to solve this. But here we are using again the concept of matrix. So the first thing we need to find is the augmented matrix. So the coefficient is 2, 1, 1 for X, first column, 5, 4, -3 for the second column, 4, 3, 2, -2 for third column. Then the constant value, you put a vertical line, then you put the constant value. Now the next step is that we want to change the coefficient section. We want to change the matrix there to identity matrix, 3 by 3. Only the diagonal we have 1, 1, 1, then the rest we have 0. So how can we do that? They told us we can use 3 operations. If possible, we can change 2 rows. For example, you have 2, here I have 1. I need 1 at the position of 2. So I can interchange 2 and 3, or we can interchange, sorry, I said 2 and 3, 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, because I want the first row, first column value to be 1. Then I also want the second row, second column to be 1. I also want the third row, third column to be 1. Then the rest zeros. So I can interchange again 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. Then the rest of the column, I'll make sure I make it 0. So for example, if I do 1 and 3, how can I make the second and the third 0? Very simple. I already have 1 here, and the first is also 1 because I changed 1 and 3. So what I'll do is that I'm going to multiply the first equation by -1 and add it to the second equation. So -1 times 1 will be -1. -1 plus 1 is 0. But I have to do that to the rest of the rows. So I'll use -1 times 5, -5 plus 4. You write the value and etc. Again, the steps are here. So let's go to the first steps, how they did it. Here they decided to interchange 1 and 2. But again, you can do 1 and 3. They interchange 1 and 2. So now we have 1 in the first row, first column. Now we want to make sure that the rest of the columns, which is the second row, first column, third row, first column, we want to change that to zeros. How can I change 2 to 0? Oh, it's straightforward. I will multiply the first row by -2, and I will add it to the second row, and that will give me the new value for second row. And actually, that's what they did here. Add -2 times row 1 to row 2, and put the result in row 2. So -2 times 1 will give me -2 plus 1, 0. -2 times 4 will give me -8 plus +5 is -3. -2 times 3 is -6. -6 plus -2. -2. So you have to do for the whole row. Last one, -2 times 1 is -2 plus 4 is +4. So we finish. but we need to change the third row first column also to 0. So how can I get a 0? Well, it's up to me. I have 1 here. Now I have 0 here. You don't want to, where there's a 0, you can't do nothing. Only you can do addition. Because if I multiply 0 by anything, it's 0. So it's my option. I can multiply the first row by -1 and I'll add it to 3 and that'll give me the new 3. And that's what they did here. Add -1 times row 1 to row 3, then put the result in row 3. So -1 times 1 is -1 plus 1 is 0. 4, -4. I have -3, -4 is -7. -3, -2 is -5. -1, +5 will give me +4. Okay, we finished the first column. 1, 0, 0. Now, when you go to the next column, get the 1 first before you do the zeros. Always we want to get 1 first, then the zeros. So how can I get 1 in -3? Straightforward. I will multiply by -1/3. -1/3 times +3 will give me 1. So we got that one. -1/3 times 0 is 0. So we get a 0 here. We still have to leave that 0. Then -2 times -1/3 will give me +2/3. Okay, so we got +2/3. -1/3 times 2 will give me -2/3. We got 2/3. Okay, we finish. Now we need 0 at the 4 and we need 0 at -7. How can I get 0 at 4? The easy way to do this, okay, let me multiply the second row by -4 and add it to the first row. And let's see if that's what they did. Yeah, that's what they did here. Add -4 times row 2 to row 1, then put the result in row 1. So -4 times 1 is -4 plus 4, it becomes 0. We have the 0. -4 times 2, we get -8, -8 by 3. So we write the answer down. Then you keep going. -4 by this value, add it to 1, then you put the answer down. We get 11/3, 1/3. Then we do the same thing. How can we get 0 here? Well, in order to get 0 here, I have 1 here. I don't want to use, you can also try with 4, but that would be a big value. Maybe I'll multiply by 7 times 4 or something. I mean, it's a long process. The easy way, I have 1, I have -7. So I'll multiply by +7. So let's see if that's what, yeah. Add 7 times row 2 and to row 3. Then the result go to row 3. So they multiply 7 by row 2 and add it to row 3 and keep the answer in row 3. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 plus -7 is 0. 7 times 2/3 will give me 14/3. We have to subtract 5 from it, and this is what we get. Then that's it. The last one now. Oh, I have -1/3. How can I get +1/3? Okay, I'll multiply by -3. -3 times -1/3 will give me 1. But you have to use it for the whole row. So right now we have 0, 0 doesn't matter because anything times 0 is 0. So the next will be the constant value. We get 2 because it will be 6 divided by 3. And it's negative is +2. Then what we need 0, 0, the remaining third column, 0, 0. How can I get 0? We have 1/3 here. Who can tell us? If I need 0 here, maybe I'll multiply, I'll use the 1. 1 will be easy. 1/3 minus 1/3 will give me 0. Okay, so I use 1. And let's see if that, yeah, that's what they use, -1. Again, the thing, you can use a lot of numbers, but you are looking for the simple values to use. Something you can even do it very quick. So I look 1/3, I don't want to say, okay, I will look for 2/3 or something. I want 1/3, okay, how can I get 1/3 minus 1/3? Okay, I have 1 here, so let me multiply it by -1/3, that can give me -1/3. -1/3, +1/3 is 0. You have to do the same thing for the constant value too. Here also you have to third. How can you get 0 here? Same thing, we need minus 2/3. So I'll use minus 2/3, 2/3 minus 2/3. I have 1 here, so let me use that. And that's what they did, minus 2/3 times the row 3, which is 1, add it to 2, then keep the answer in 2. So after you finish, you can see that from beginning, step 1 to 6, it's like we are repeating the same 3 operations over and over and over. So there's no any trick here. It's just that it takes long process. That's why, again, I said in the exams, we will not ask a question to find the whole system of linear equation. It will be partially solved somewhere. And or the question is given like this, make column 1, 1, 0, 0. So we write the answer like this. How do you get from here to here? We reach here, almost finish, solve for the equation. So you need 2 more steps to solve it. You can see that right now, just doing this, it took more than 10 minutes right now because we were starting around 11:20 or 25. So it takes very long. So I hope I answer your question.
Is question like this going to be on the test?
Yeah, as I said again, it will be on the test, but you are not going to solve the whole. It will be partially solved somewhere, then you complete it. So maybe a question will be given, the first, mostly to be augmented matrix, or the equation will be given, they will say, find the augmented matrix of the equation. Or the augmented matrix is given, make the first row, let's say first row, first column 1, and second row, maybe first column 0 or something. So as I said, to be something like a partial solving process. Anyway, here we can tell you, okay, how can you get 1 in second row, second column? Explain write the process down. Okay, so if no question, let's